I get asked this a lot about having a blended family. Having a blended family can be difficult if you force things. But if you step back and let go and release your fears, your concerns, the way you want things to be, then things start to fall into place. There's a time when I was so protective over my son, and my husband was just trying to be a father, but I wouldn't let him. So he pulled back. To this day, it caused a gap, and not because of my son or not because of my husband, but because of me standing in the way. But when I stepped back, even if there's still that gap that I caused, you can see it's closing, it's closing, it's closing. Today, my husband he always has. He's taken my son as his own. He understood what he was getting into because we talked about it. Now, when it comes to my in-laws, initially they were like, okay, we understand, but we can't just take the son as our own. But as time passed, and as the relationship and the marriage worked, because we created a very healthy home. We created a place where we understand that this is your father, this is we had other kids, so these are your children, and we interact as a family. There's no step nini, this, that, and the other here. Not in our behavior. It is okay. It is absolutely okay for me to introduce my husband or my son or my husband to say, this is my stepson. There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean I love you halfway. It just is what it is. It's the truth. It's okay, guys. It's okay. It's fine. It started off that way, and now we just say, oh, our kids. My husband will be like, yes, my child, our children. I have 3 children. It just flows. But don't force it. Don't resist it. Let go. It's hard to let go, but once you do, I promise you, everything falls into place. I was talking about my in-laws, and today, my mother-in-law may have had concerns. Of course, the community had concerns, because you have to understand, in the African settings, a lot of times people don't know how to deal with these things, and that's fine. But once they saw how we operate, they started to operate the same way. They started to say, oh, they're just a family. They're really just a family. He's just a child. He's just a kid like any other. Like, he's not different. He's just a child. And today, my mother-in-law and my son, from a totally different man, have a complete grandmother-grandchild relationship. She will call him every time she calls and talks to the children. If he's in his room, she'll be like, how is he? I want to say hi. She'll check on him. She'll always call and be like, oh, I heard he was sick. How is he doing? What's going on? Let me talk to him. I want to see how he's doing. I mean, when we are, oh gosh, it's even making me emotional. She just loves that boy. When we are here, she'll be like, oh, send him over. I haven't seen him. He'll come and stay with me. It's never a question. It's never a question. She doesn't treat him like a step-grandchild. I don't know how to explain that. And mainly it's because they saw how we were doing it. And then they got to say, oh, they're just a family. They really are just a family. It is just a family. It is. Children may look different. They may be, biological differences, but if you treat yourselves as just a family, but also at the same time acknowledging each other's concerns and questions, and not forcing that you can't say stepchild, you need to say my child. No, let them say stepchild until they're comfortable to deal with each other as one. Like I said, we can't force it. So now every time it's his birthday, she'll be like, oh, I want to get a gift. When she travels, she bring him something. Like, I don't see her treating him differently. And it's amazing to see. It is amazing. We never forced it. We never said you can and can't do, you have to, not have to. She and everybody else took the steps from what we were doing. We weren't pretending things are not, as they are. We're not pretending we're not a blended family. We just are. We are. Now, now they are the ones who say, oh, this is my dad. Oh, this is my son. Before it's like, oh, this is my stepdad. Oh, this is my stepson. At first I felt a certain way about it, like, oh, so you're saying he's not your kid. It's like, yo, but he's not. Do you understand? However, I am going to take him as my own. And when that came about, naturally, let them transition naturally, stay out of the way, unless there's actual abuse happening. They just suddenly transitioned, hey, dad, hey, baba, hey. And that was that. And once that happened, the rest of the family kicked into gear. Simple. Because also at this point, he has taken the stance as father. So he protects as his child, as a father does his child. So even with the extended family and anybody else, my husband will step in and be like, hey, what are you doing to my son? Hey, this is my family. Stay off, back off, or else you're going to deal with me. I remember a situation where kids were screaming, gee, what was happening? And my son was in the midst of that group. I think we were at a swimming pool or something, and there was some commotion. So my husband got up and ran to check. And as soon as he spotted my son, he sighed some relief and sat down. So I was like, so what was happening? He's like, I don't even know or even care what was happening there. My main concern was that mine was fine. And he said, okay, it's not happening to mine. I can sigh a sigh of relief. And he sat down. We also knew at that point that there was no danger to the other children. So he was not trying to be like, I don't care about other people's kids. But his first instinct was to protect his. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that came naturally. And I started to see those things and I was like, wow, thank you, God. Wow, thank you. This is amazing. So let that happen naturally. Don't stand in the way. Talk about the things that you're concerned about and hear the other person out. The word stepfather or stepson, stepdaughter, stepmother, it's just the facts. But it doesn't have to be the relationship. Let it be. It will come. And once people see that you are just a family, they're going to treat you that way.